The concluding chapter of the Metal Gear Solid saga. Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. So Metal Gear Solid 4, it takes place 5 years after Metal Gear Solid 2, and as Snake says in the intro, war has changed. And it's completely changed. It's completely controlled by the Patriots. Ultimately, there's something called the war economy, which the Patriots control. They have these little proxy wars that break out because they dictate that these proxy wars have to break out here, here, and here. And the financial result of these proxy wars is that the economy is balanced how the Patriots deem it should be balanced. The weapons are controlled. The soldiers have nanobots in their bodies, which can be controlled to an extent. It's like the world is under this passive-aggressive fist that it doesn't even know it's under. And so now it's been learned where Liquid Ocelot is. Liquid Ocelot is Revolver Ocelot, who's now mentally Liquid Snake. As they showed in Metal Gear Solid 2, that was happening. So Solid Snake's been hired to take out Liquid Ocelot. I'm going to delve into the plot a little bit later on, but right now we're going to talk about the controls, because the controls in Metal Gear Solid 4 are so much different than the other Metal Gear Solid games. Up to this point at least. Metal Gear Solid 4, unlike the other Metal Gear Solid games, really goes on a trigger system. It's like L1 is aim, R1 is your action button, R1 also you can like put them in a headlock. L1 and R1 really do most everything you need to do in the game in terms of action. And upon that being different, the thing that people griped about most in Metal Gear Solid 4 is it relies less on stealth. And I gotta admit, it really does. There are 5 chapters or scenarios in this game. 3 of the 5 have stealth. But even then, it's stealth in the middle of a war zone. Like in the first mission, you're dropped in the middle of this war zone. These 2 sides are fighting. Otacon calls you and he is like, all right, Snake, there's no need to fight anybody. They're doing their own thing. These are not your enemies. You are not their enemy. Do not fight them. Just sneak around. This guy saw me and he's like, it's the enemy. He starts shooting me. I was like, well, you couldn't have been more wrong in that assessment there, Otacon. Thanks. So, you just blow the guys away and it's done. I'm just saying, when you see a battlefield, you don't think, oh, sneak around it. You think, all right, let's get the guns and start shooting dudes. The first 2 missions in this game, you're sneaking with a bunch of soldiers who are fighting. That in this game has a shit ton of weapons. You have more weapons in Metal Gear Solid 4 than 1, 2, and 3 combined. So the game's telling you, all right, sneak around. By the way, here's a shit ton of weapons that you're not going to use because you need to sneak. It's stealth. It's tactical espionage action. But use the guns. You want to. And I do want to, and I did. So does the game concentrate less on stealth? Yes, it does. Another thing this game has a lot of are cutscenes. This is the thing that people hated too. They're like, oh my god, the game is half cutscenes. It does seem like that, and there are hours upon hours of cutscenes in this game. That being said, I'm fine with it, because it's the concluding chapter of this entire saga. I want the story to be told to its fullest. Don't leave shit out, bring on the cutscenes. I would rather have a 2-hour cutscene at the end of this game than a 5-minute cutscene in which I have to choose one of 3 colors. I'm being honest, and I'm right. Metal Gear Solid 4, I will say, gives you the answers you've wanted for a couple games now. Oh, the whole Liquid Ocelot thing? Don't worry, they got it covered. Which is funny, because the Liquid Ocelot thing, the way Liquid Snake is in Ocelot's body, it's explained a certain way in 2, and explained a little bit as an Easter egg in 3. Then in 4, they explained it a completely different way. This is the subject of a lot of conversation, a lot of controversy that has no real resolution. You can see it as the explanation in 4 completely negates 2 and 3, or you can see it as 2 and 3 did happen, then the way they described it in 4 happened. Whatever you want to see, go for it. I hate seeing things in a way that negates other games, so I see it as, oh, it happened that way in 2, and the way it was explained in 3 is, legit, and then it happened the way it happened in 4. This is me talking in code. This is me trying not to spoil it for you. It all happened. But you find out who the Patriots are in this game, who the Patriots were, who the real bad guy was back in the day that started all this shit. But I gotta say, Mission 4 is the biggest nostalgia bomb ever. Now, I'll say it's a nostalgia bomb in the sense that if you played Metal Gear Solid 1 10 years ago, this is how this mission is so nostalgic and relevant. If you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 1 10 years ago and you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 4 yet, you haven't been into the game for the past decade, it's not like I'm gonna just crush 10 years of anticipation for you, so yeah, I'm gonna let you know what it is. In Mission 4, you go back to Shadow Moses Island from Metal Gear Solid 1, and I'm telling you, it blows your mind. The only way I can accurately describe it is, imagine you go back to the house you grew up in. You walk in, there's still dust on the furniture and shit, but everything is arranged the same. I'm telling you, it's trippy. It's awesome. I love the fact that they brought you back to Shadow Moses Island. And you go across certain territory and you hear audio flashbacks and you're like, holy crap. I mean, it's just the biggest nostalgia bomb I've seen in a game ever, period, in my life. And the flashbacks don't start at the Shadow Moses incident. I mean, there are things that people will say, and you'll see the little X icon in the corner of the screen. You push the the X button a bunch of times, you'll see flashbacks come on the screen. The whole game is really one big nostalgia bomb wrapped in some exciting gameplay, wrapped in some really sweet storytelling, with less stealth, admittedly. And of course, if you're gonna make a character a badass, make Raiden a badass. Raiden is so awesome in Metal Gear Solid 4. Remember Metal Gear Solid 2, people like me were like, dude, what a bait and switch, who's this guy? Metal Gear Solid 4, he is the new cyborg ninja, and the dude just owns ass. In this game, there are these geckos, which are ultimately like a Metal Gear Rex design type thing. These things will kick the shit out of you. You just run when you see them. And when you get a rocket launcher, you end up assessing, yeah, I could spend 3 rockets killing this thing, or I could still run, and you do. Raiden just takes him out with his sword. Dude, this dude, he's business. I am lightning. The rain transformed. Just a side note, only badasses get to say things like that and have it work, and he says it and it works. I'm glad they made Raiden relevant, and I'm glad to see his resolution also. This game has some sweet resolution. When the game's wrapping up, I don't know whose story I love most. But I will say, when you see Raiden's, it will become clear why I don't even want anything to do with Metal Gear Rising. No need to send that guy out into the battlefield, man. He did his part. And it's not just him. So many characters in this game have sacrificed so much to get this job done. I mean, people have lied to people they've loved, people have lost people they've loved, some people have ruined their reputation, some people just won't stop. You see Solid Snake, he looks like an 80-year-old man in this game. It only takes place 5 years after 2 because, and again, little spoiler, this isn't the thing here. It's gonna make you go, oh, what? You told me that? Snake's ultimately a weapon. The weapon has an expiration date, so he's prematurely aging and he's gonna die soon. So he needs to get this job done, and that really helps in you going, dude, give up, man. It's okay. You know that scene in Dark Knight Rises where Catwoman looks at Batman and she's like, you don't owe these people anymore. You've given them everything. Batman's like, not everything. Not my hockey pad. It's like that in this game, dude. Snake is in such bad shape by the end of this game. He's hacking. He's crawling to his destination. You're like, dude, just... wow. I don't think I've seen such determination in a game character ever in my life. And Snake still professes, I'm no hero. Never was. Never will be. And that's what makes him a complete hero. I love it when heroes are like, I'm not a hero, just a guy with an obligation. And we've all thought to ourselves, okay, Metal Gear Ray was designed to fight other Metal Gears, so who would win in a fight, Metal Gear Ray or Metal Gear Rex? You wanna know? Play Metal Gear Solid 4. So Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots is the most action-packed of the Metal Gear Solid games. It relies more on action, less on stealth, but it does have the stealth element in it, but it's more or less there for the story. The game exists to give you resolution with the characters, to wrap up its epic. There's a scene where it's all coming to a head, and there are 3 things going down. You see 3 different split screens. One with Snake, one with Raiden, one with just a bunch of other shit happening. People are dying, people are getting shot, Snake's crawling. You're like, man, you don't really get that a lot of times in games. It's good when the director and creator of a saga knows, like, alright, this is an epic, it needs to end epically. It's heavy on the cutscenes, but ultimately I have no problem with it at all. Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots is a fulfilling ending to one of the best sagas you're gonna find in games, and is completely awesometacular. My favorite in terms of gameplay and story is Metal Gear Solid 3, but the fact that Metal Gear Solid 4 wrapped up in such a really good and fulfilling way and gave me everything I wanted in this game and more, gotta give it props. So your favorite conclusion to your favorite epic, what would it be? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.